We were thinking about the project title, right? We went through a lot of discussions and to find out what we are really trying to say. We've gone past the stage where we're just trying to show off the tech. The tech is good, it's fun, it's interesting, it gets people's attention, but I think we really want to say something more than just showing what we can do. So we talked about it and we had themes such as, the coming together of different art forms. That's one. We talked about what else did we talk about?
Talked about, how the different elements of nature and the human come together.
Yeah.
And it was due to that we came up with the term Verge as a title, because it was that intersection in which it was technology and the body, different elements of nature coming together, and also the fact that we came from two different disciplines, dance and sonic art.
And it goes beyond that, actually. It goes all the way to our race, two different person connecting together. That's how it was back then. You're connected by the sea. You have a saying, right, in Malay, what was it? The land and the sea.
In Malay, when we talk about homeland, it's tanah air, which is land and sea. So for the Malay people, it's also the connection with both water and also the earth.
Hey, so remember when we did Verge? Okay.
Wow.
No, I will always practice.
Prophecy.
Every time when I come up with a title, I always practice how I would see it in the near future. Because if it's too long, then it becomes very difficult. So I will always say, so I always practice. So for example, when I did Verge with James Lai in 2021, that works.
Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it. The whole project started, I think, because of what really interests me. I started doing music from a very early stage, and then subsequently when I realized that there are other art forms that involve sound, and they got me really interested. And when I found sort of like a sound art by its own, and I realized that you can do a lot more with sound than just a linear kind of a format like music. So from there, I dabbled with more interactive technology, and then fast forward a few years, I met Amin. Came a point where I realized that I can actually start to fuse sound art with other different art forms. So I'm being a dancer, and then I find it intriguing to sort of explore how sound as a medium can interact with another art form, in this case, the dance form. We've done a few projects, and now we're here at Verge in 2022.
To be honest, this has been a wonderful journey because it helped me think about memories and also things that we have taken for granted. Thinking about my time by the beach, I really felt that it was a safe space, and what I've always liked about being close to the shoreline is that we could also feel the water, feel the sand, and also the wind. I think this whole project saw the main reason why we did it eventually was when the two of us actually went to the beach itself and felt that there were so many wonderful moments and also an exploration of elements that we could replicate via this exploration. And I must say that trying to find ways to interpret and using sonic art, light, and how the body in movement is able to manipulate all these other elements has been one of those journeys which I've not had before, and this has been really fruitful.
It's quite interesting to see how dance and sound come together. Usually in the normal context, dance context, you'll be the dancer following the music, right? And I'm more interested in finding out how a dancer can be equipped or being given the agency to control sound fully, right? This is not to take away the credit of music composers or sound designers, but to just really explore the boundaries, really, and to see what we can get out from there. And it has been quite a journey. We've done this many years ago, briefly, and now we're really trying to dig deep to find the meaning behind doing this. It's sort of, you're breaking apart music and dance and then trying to put it back together again. So it's been refreshing, and I don't think this Verge is an end point. I think it's going to be yet another continuous journey for I don't know how many more years. But it's definitely an improvement from the last time we worked together. Yeah.
We are using elements that are not usually used in traditional Malay dance, for example. And this, for me, allowed for a newer mode of presentation, even to an extent having to think about the value of what we call tradition. And how this in itself, if it eventually becomes a habit or a convention, would also become tradition. And I do feel that the environment we're living in today, and especially with COVID-19, it does feel like these are opportunities to really unpack our own traditional practices and see how these components or technology can actually assist us in thinking about our relevance today.
For me, on the tech side of things, what I'm doing here is not exactly, say, innovative. Like, I didn't think of this idea. There are different projects in the past that has different, like, similar elements to what we're doing. But what I'm doing here is we're actually putting together the resources that we've gathered throughout this past 3-4 months of experimentation. I'm going to put it up on a website. So including the tech, the programming, the software, and how we got to where we are today, it's going to be open and released to the public. So open source. So I think what I'm trying to achieve through that is to let other people who are interested in this area, who might not have dabbled in this before, to take a look at what is available and see if there's anything that they can use. Because I can only do so much, and someone might have a more brilliant idea that they can take this and take it a step further.
What for me was most enriching was this collaboration, which I feel that if other traditional dancers were to have conversations and would like to collaborate with people outside of their circle, surely there are a lot more that can be done and a lot more that can be experimented upon, because I have benefited from this collaboration. Because James and I were not only working on aesthetics or on trying to include something new, but the discourse, the dialogue in which we had, thinking about our relevance today, who we are, as Singaporeans or as global citizens, having to think about what we have taken for granted. These were conversations which I found most beneficial in trying to think about the value of our role as artists today.
Looking back, we've matured as individuals, of course, and we've gained different experiences. We haven't really had a proper conversation until now. And when we were planning this project, we thought 3-4 months, that's going to be long enough to talk about it. And I realized it's not long enough. And with COVID and things like that, of course, we wish that we had more time. But I think it is definitely a lot more insightful this time around with Amin. The conversations we had are very meaningful. It's all in the portal, of course, in the website. So you can go through them and see how we started from this little idea and then continue to develop it over time. And I say, this is not the end. It's going to hopefully develop further again in years to come. Yeah. For a start, I think half the team caught COVID during the project's period, right? So that itself, it really made quite a significant impact. I mean, moving forward, hopefully things will get better, and then we'll look back and how did we manage to pull this off. But with COVID, it sort of demonstrates how important it is to really look deeper into how tech can be incorporated in the arts, I feel. With COVID, you can't go out to dance in a group. Does that mean you're going to stop dancing? You're going to dance by yourself, then how can you still continue to grow as a dancer, grow as an artist? So I think it gave the opportunity to sort of find new spaces to explore, for me at least.
I found the possibility of solo performance very intriguing. Also at the same time, I must say, because I contracted COVID too, it has done a lot of things to the body, and it has become more evident to me that my aging body, had its limitations. It's true, the post-COVID experience is legit. It does feel like I'm feeling it now. But what solo performance and the possibility of the body having that agency to control other elements, to be honest, was very empowering and allowed me to work within, to some extent, my limitations as an aging dancer, to see what more can be done and how I can challenge my capacity. That was the most challenging, yet I find it to be most beneficial.
The project is much more than just purely entertainment. So the intention, at least what we're trying to put out, is see what we've done, what we've talked about, the discourse, and how we put our thoughts and then translate that into the actual work itself. I think that process itself, that's the key highlight of Verge. So as much as we enjoy what we do and we want people to feel the sort of enthusiasm, the passion that we have in this project, under the hood, I think it's really an experiment, a research project that we want people to know how we got to the final product.
And I agree. I do feel that what we have done is art, and to create art requires research. And it was most important that we had conversations with people who would advise us on the biomechanics of the body, having to think about how movement is generated and how the limitations of our own bodies as well. Thinking also about the fashion meaning the wearable items that we had to wear, thinking about the material, having to think about making it more lightweight, so for the dancer it's easier to move. So there were many trial and errors, and we had to talk through it. We had to find ways to brainstorm further about what is most optimal for this experiment to work. Of course, we went through a lot of setbacks, right?
Yeah, lots of setbacks.
Yeah, and it allowed us to work through that. Even in this juncture, when we are recording the work, it does feel that there are a lot of things there that we have yet to fully unpack or to think through better. So all the more for this work to become an experiment that will keep on going.
If I have all the time in the world, I would really just sit down and just continue to work on this if the circumstances allow, And I think it will come to a point where we are so comfortable with the tech and dance coming together. It's no longer just a overlay on top of each other. It's really the hybridization, not juxtaposition. So it's really coming together, like how a traditional Malay dancer would react to traditional Malay instruments. When you hear the instrument, you know instinctively what to do with your body, right? To achieve that kind of level with tech or what we're doing here for the dancer. I think when we have reached that point, that is when it's more completed.
Well, to extend that, because as your collaborator, I'm also a very genre-specific, right?
Yes.
Look at Malay dance, and if we are talking about traditional dancers, probably further conversations with friends from other kindred traditional art forms, could be beneficial. Could there be something else there that we can use so that they can also create their own contemporary solo performance, hybridizing technology? It does feel like this work might not only involve the two of us, but involve other people coming in to further challenge some of the thoughts and some of the things that we've done. I mean, that makes the work even more exciting, and it doesn't feel stagnant. Sometimes, in experimentation, after we've been doing the same thing for a while, it could be like that. So probably that opportunity to include others into the work could help us think further, think deeper, and extend the work to include others.